Greendale Community College from the sitcom community has lots of problems, and the biggest one is its teachers, from drunk lectures and fake degrees to attacking students and falling off ladders. Let's talk about this chaotic faculty. Hi everybody, welcome to Mind and More, where we talk about anything that comes to mind and more. Today, I'm redoing the video on Greendale's professors and teachers. This one will be more rapid and in order of how iconic the professor is, rather than order of appearance in the show. What's iconic, you ask? You can be iconic for either good or bad reasons. You just have to stand out. This video is inspired by my own experiences with some insane professors I've come across as I've pursued academics. I have a theory that academia itself makes people lose it, and Greendale seems to prove this. Oh, and after discussing all the teachers and professors, I'll round up the most bizarre courses taught at Greendale as a bonus. Let's go. We're going to start off with the professor with a name I can't pronounce. We'll call him Professor A. He teaches the most iconic class at Greendale, ladders. Professor A teaches a class on ladders, as in the actual tools we use to reach for things, while dressed in a suit and bow tie. His class is the best thing that Greendale has to offer. That it's a shame he ended up falling off his ladder and onto a student Annie. But despite all of this, yes, we do want to see the ladders professor go higher. Number 2 is Professor June Bauer. She teaches anthropology. This role is played by the iconic Betty White, so of course it's this high up. Professor Bauer has lived a full, badass life and been all over the world. Her only problem is that she drinks her own urine, but apparently it has healing powers, so cheers to that. In the very episode we meet her, she ends up attacking a student, Jeff Winger, and landing him in the hospital, and so she's suspended. But she's so badass that her suspension is paid and she actually ends up spending this time in the Congo. Number 4, Professor Sean Garrity. He's a drama professor and dramatic he is. So dramatic that he's gone as far as discussing the pain of not having any pain. Although he's held classes where the classwork is to unlock trauma and the homework is to have a glass of wine, he probably doesn't deserve to be this high up. But he is, because I think he's attractive. And this is pure favoritism. He also has an alter ego named Professor Professorson who teaches conspiracies, and his alter ego is at number 4. Number 4, Professor Professorson. He tricked Annie, Jeff, and the dean into thinking they'd all been shot, or rather they'd all shot each other in a very confusing but hilarious episode, just to teach them a lesson on the dangers of pranking. Number 5, Professor Whitman. He teaches accounting, but instead of actually teaching accounting, he prefers to teach the students how to live. There's no books or tests in his class. Instead, you're asked to kick off your shoes and carpe diem. The only way to pass his class is if you can seize the day. Jeff tried to cheat his way and pretend to be carefree and present, but this guy has a very sensitive BS meter. This man's class sounds great, but would be an absolute nightmare if you're uptight or pretentious or just have anxiety. Regardless, I want to see more of this man. Number 6, Professor Ian Duncan. Professor Duncan teaches psychology. He has a drinking problem and attends lectures drunk. He drinks so much that when he's forced to get sober, he's late for class because he could not find the school while sober. His psychology knowledge is questionable, but it is far better than his knowledge of anthropology. When he does take over from Professor Bauer, in his first class he asks the students what anthropology is, because he genuinely doesn't know. At number 7 is Ben Chang. Chang teaches Spanish using phrases from Sesame Street. He has a fake degree and eventually gets caught, but that's not the end of his story. After this, he rejoins Greendale as a student, then a security guard, before becoming a dictator. For a while, Chang is also a fake amnesiac or Changnesiac in his own words. And finally, he's a maths teacher. I'm not entirely sure his credentials as a maths teacher are real either, but who cares? This is Greendale we're talking about. Number 8, Marion Holly. He teaches beginner pottery. This is another favoritism case because this part is played by the same actor who plays Buster in Arrested Development. I love this guy in Arrested Development, and I almost fell off my chair when I saw him in Community. As a teacher, Marion gives off chill, carefree vibes, but only has one rule: not to reenact the Demi Moore, Patrick Swayze scene in Ghost. Because if you do, he will flip like a switch and come at you.
With God as my witness, I will come at you with everything I've got. Okay?
Number 9 is Coach Bogner. He teaches billiards, and he's here because he had a near-nude pool face-off with Jeff that ended in a bizarre and sentimental moment between the two men. Not entirely sure what lesson was supposed to be taken from playing pool in your underwear, but you could not place this guy anywhere else but the top 10. And number 10. To close off the top 10, we have Professor Robinson. This man teaches baby talk, and that is so iconic that he only needed to say one line to be in the top 10. That line was, "My name is Professor Robinson. Who's ready to win?" This gets me every time. If you're enjoying this video and want to see more stuff like this, why not just subscribe? At number 11 is Professor Kligoris, or Kligoris. He says either pronunciation works. This professor teaches social studies and heads model UN. He's great because of his name alone. Kligoris. Right after the professor with a questionable name, we have Professor or Vice Dean Laybourne. Vice Dean Laybourne heads the Greendale's cult-like air conditioning repair school. He's scary and moves with so much authority that he once threatened his own boss, Dean Pelton, by saying, "Now you're going to feel my power as it surges downward from me straight through you from nostril to rectum until the end of time." And that's what's up. Number 13, Professor Michelle Slater. Yet again, some more favoritism. Professor Slater is at 13 because she's pretty and witty. She dated her student Jeff. They were the same age, he asked her out, and school policy allowed it. She was Jeff's best match, and I will die on that hill. The only thing I have against her is that she got caught up in competing with Britta for Jeff. Come on, girl. That was beneath you. Number 14, Professor Marshall Kane. Professor Kane is an ex-con who teaches biology. I would like to commend this man for being one of the only few normal people at Greendale and for not taking any of the study group's BS. Number 15, Professor Slaughter. He teaches sailing in a parking lot though, and never on the actual seas. So basically, this guy has a PhD in teaching how to play pretend, and that's awesome. At number 16 is Professor Buzz Hickey. Professor Hickey teaches criminology. He gives off no-nonsense energy, but draws cartoon ducks in his free time, which he has a lot of. He also gives A- to students who deserve A's that he doesn't like. Number 17, Jeffrey Winger. So Jeff is the one guy I never imagined would become a teacher. He always thought he was too cool for Greendale when he was a student, so it's absolutely insane he ended up teaching there. He taught fundamentals of law. He was initially lazy but eventually embraced the role. Along with Chang, he's another Greendale guy who once faked a degree. Number 18, Corey Radisson. Radisson headed the Glee Club and gave off some serious cold leader vibes. He recruited the entire study group into the Glee Club because he'd killed off the previous group. He then ended up accidentally confessing to this crime while on stage. This wasn't the only assassination at Greendale though. Number 19, Murray. Murray was an instructor at the mysterious air conditioning repair school, and he assassinated Vice Dean Laybourne. Not cool, Murray. Not cool. Number 20, Professor Peter Sheffield. Professor Sheffield taught Who's the Boss. During the course of this class, he had a mental breakdown. Abed broke the man by proving there was an answer to the question, who's the boss, and that Angela was the boss. I feel for this man. Abed made him question his entire existence. Number 21, Coach Chapman. He taught PEE, not PE. He didn't teach physical education. He taught physical education. He was teaching students how to become gym teachers. He was the epitome of a great gym teacher. Madame Leclerc. She was a dance teacher in the secret dance class which Troy and Britta took together when we first saw them bond outside of the rest of the group. Madame Leclerc was the same woman who had grown adults dressing up as flowers. Number 23, Professor Escudera. She replaced Chang after he was caught for faking his degree. She was strict and knew how to do her job. The only reason she's down here is because she seemed like she was no fun. So you'd get excellent grades in her class, but you'd be miserable. At number 24 is Professor Cornwallis. Cornwallis taught history and he absolutely sucked. He was just unpleasant and had presumably been fired from Oxford, possibly for over-fraternizing with students. Didn't like him, couldn't stand him. And finally, at number 25 is Professor Roger DeSalvo. He taught Grifting 101. He taught students how to con, and his class itself was a con, where he sold students $150 briefcases. This man is in last place because as a professor who teaches how to grift, he was out-grifted by his own students, and that's just sad. He had to leave in disgrace after losing to a bunch of amateurs. And there you have it. That's all 25 of Greendale's professors and teachers. Before we wrap things up, let's talk about the most bizarre classes offered at Greendale. Number 1, ladders. I'll take it without a second thought. I want to see the ladders professor go higher. Number 2, baby talk. What is the point of this class? Is it to learn how to talk to babies or how to talk like a baby? Number 3, advanced breath holding. This class is not safe but might come in handy if you're underwater or stuck in a smelly elevator. Number 4, can I fry that? In this class you can fry anything, even keys. The only thing you can't fry is fries because the teacher will be offended and kick you out. Number 5, the history of ice cream. This class gave most of its students heart attacks, but I say it sounds delicious and is worth the risk. At number 6, we have Grifting 101. A class on conning is absolutely wild and the main thing taught is how to pass briefcases. Number 7, the history of something. This class is just called the history of something, and we don't know what the something is. Number 8, Nicolas Cage, good or bad. This is taught by my favorite, Sean Garrity, and once upon a time, Abed had a mental breakdown in this class and jumped on a table screaming, "I'm a cat. I'm a sexy cat." Number 9, the entire air conditioning repair school. This school was creepy as heck. And finally, number 10, learning with an exclamation mark. I assume it's where you learn how to learn, and honestly, this sounds like a useful class. And that's it. That's all of Greendale's insane professors, along with 10 of its most insane classes. Which professor was your best? Which was your worst? Which classes would you take, and which would you never set foot in? Let me know.